Hey, house guests, welcome to today's BB23 updates and spoilers. I really hope we're not going to have any audio issues today. We did switch microphones, so if it's on our end, hopefully the situation is solved, but we'll see. So thank you all so much for being here. Hope you're having a great Friday. We've got lots to talk about. Our house guests of the day are Jason Morellas and Alan Houston. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. All right. I also want to thank, before we get started, our super chatters from yesterday, because super chat is also a great way to support the channel, and we really appreciate it. So Donnie Greenwell, Michelle C., Alex Garza, Justice, and Yasser Bakir. Thank you so much. Oh, Sheena, thanks. This whole thing. But anyway, last night, Travis was evicted by a vote of 11-2. I'm really hoping we're going to get to see him calling out Frenchie on Sunday night's show, because I want to see what that was all about. Did it actually do anything? Was it blown out of proportion by Julie? Who knows? But I guess hopefully we'll find out Sunday. But let's talk about this vote, 11-2. We had two rogue votes, Tiffany and Derek F. And we know that Big D had been talking for days about doing that and mixing things up. I didn't think he was going to follow through on it, though, because it seemed like everyone was telling him not to do it. And then he did. But then Frenchie also asked Tiffany to vote out Alyssa because he wanted to blame this rogue vote on Derek X and try to make him a bigger target, because Frenchie is super paranoid that he would be the biggest target this week. So he was trying to make sure Derek X would be a meat shield in front of him. Okay. And we're going to be talking about Tiffany's reasoning for accepting that deal in a little bit. All right. So we also saw that Kyland won HOH, which means that Team Queens is also safe for the week. Tiffany and Claire, what's up? I love that little trio. And Julie said that the rules for the wild card this week, the winner is going to get safety if they agree to switch teams. That's freaking wild, all right. The aptly named wild card. So that's a pretty cool twist. And don't worry, I do have the results of the wild card competition, which we will get to. Okay, so then after the episode was over, I was so excited, so ready to turn on the feeds and see what was happening, see Kyland having conversations with everybody. And then the feeds didn't come back until after the show aired on the West Coast, which means we lost 3 crucial hours. Oh, yeah, that's really sad. Really, really sad. But when the feeds came back, we found out that the have-nots are Team Aces. So that, again, is Whitney, Hannah, Derek X, and Brent. And it sounds like Whitney and Brent volunteered the team without consulting the rest of them. And they were pretty pissed about it. Hannah and Lil D were like, are you kidding? You didn't even ask us. So that's pretty messed up. But we also saw when the feeds came back, Tiffany was crying in the yacht club room. And at first I was like, who did this? Who made Tiffany cry? But now I'm pretty sure the crying was fake. She was crying because she was trying to use it as a cover so that she could talk to Azah, because she was like, oh, I miss my son, which I'm sure she does. But Azah was comforting her, but also talking game. Tiffany is just on another level game-wise, and I love watching her. She's great. So Azah says the fake atmosphere really was just too much for her last week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but she was kind of withdrawn. She spent a lot of time by herself because she couldn't deal with the fakeness. She couldn't deal with it. She said she was struggling. So she says Brent really controlled Frenchie's HOH last week, and he got no blood on his hands. Frenchie got all the blood. One of the things that bothers me, I guess it's just because they're teammates, but Azah really spends a lot of time defending Frenchie, and I just wish she wouldn't. But I guess, she doesn't want him to leave yet because they are on the same team. But also, Frenchie did that to himself. He got a lot of unnecessary blood on his hands last week. He got mixed up in a lot of things that didn't need to be an issue. So then Tiffany's saying Frenchie talks entirely too much. She says, if there's one thing I don't like no talking ass man. Shut up. She said women talk. Yes. Woo! Go Tiffany. So they're really pissed that Frenchie started that whole French Kisses alliance, and then he tried to pin it on the women, saying that they asked him to join, and he spilled it to a bunch of people. I wonder if this came up in the 3 hours after the show. Like, I wonder if this was like a whole thing and we freaking missed it. But Azah says, if Frenchie had just listened to me last week, he would not be in this situation. Okay. So then it was funny because they were like all serious, but then they turned to the cameras and started doing like a celebratory dance to celebrate being safe this week. Because of course, Tiffany is officially safe because she's team Queens. But Azah should also be safe because I don't think Kyland is planning on going after anybody from the cookout. So, yeah. They were also talking about how they hope they get day one Frenchie back because they feel like Brent just got to him and, like, ruined him. But was day one Frenchie really that great? I don't know about that. I don't know. But anyway, meanwhile, Alyssa and Derek X were chatting in the sea glass bedroom, and Alyssa's asking, oh, are you okay? I know you were close with Travis. Like, that must be really tough. And Lil D says, I'm going to miss the dude, you know? And I feel bad because I feel like I really effed up Travis's game. Like, maybe he wouldn't be gone right now if we weren't so close. So Alyssa says, no, you shouldn't feel like that. It's all part of the game. Like, he made the decision to try and work with you. Is that supposed to make him feel better? No, but she was saying, like, you can't do that to yourself because it's part of the game. So then Alyssa's like, so who do you think, like, was trying to frame you with those rogue votes? And Lil D says, I got no idea. He's like not even sure if they're trying to frame him specifically. They are. They are trying to frame you. Or at least Frenchie was. So he says it doesn't make sense that there were 2 votes against Alyssa. He could see if it was just 1 vote and they were trying to like pin it on him, but why were there 2? So Alyssa's like, I don't know. So then, let's see. Sorry, I was just trying to improve Yvonne Rodriguez's comment. So then, looking forward, Alyssa says she feels really good about Kyland this week because she feels like, you know, they went through it together on the block last week and he probably wouldn't like put her up again. I mean, she's probably okay this week. I'm not really sure 100% what Kyland's going to do yet, but I think he's got bigger fish to fry. Okay, so then Kyland was alone thinking out loud in the bathroom area. He was doing a little BB math and he was like, all right, with the Kings and my team, the Queens, that makes 7 of us. Plus 3 members of the cookout that are on other teams. That's going to leave 5 people for me to choose from to put up on the block. That's not a lot of people. But then it gets worse because then he's like, all right, so then if I take Brent and Whitney out of the equation as well because they were in the Slaughterhouse, then that only leaves me 3 potential people. He says, Derek X, Britini, and then he doesn't say the 3rd person, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about Frenchie because I'm pretty sure he considers Hannah to be part of the cookout. So Derek X, Britini, and Frenchie. He can't put up Derek X, right? I mean, they're like good friends. Derek X saved him last week with the POV. So Kyland's going to need to make a big move here and go after somebody that he is aligned with. Like maybe from the Slaughterhouse would be nice. But anyway, he's just doing his preliminary walkthrough of the BB numbers. So he also says he wants to start talking to people early tomorrow morning. He doesn't really want to do this too much that night. And he's like, I'll do like 20 to 30 minutes per team just so I can get with everybody before the nominations. And then maybe if I have time, we can still do like one-on-one talks. So he's got like this whole schedule that he's trying to formulate in his head. All right. So then Brent and Xavier were chatting on the Sky Bridge and they are talking about the rogue votes. 2 freaking detectives up here trying to figure it out. Oh my God. This was a freaking mess and a half. So Brent's like, I don't know. I found it really odd that Big D is taking the blame for one of the votes, even though he didn't do it. He did though. Like, that's why he's taking the blame. So Brent says, this is Big Brother. Why would you say that you did it if you didn't really do it? Because he did. But they are pissed in general about these rogue votes because they knew that there would be one going into it. But what's the deal with this second one? You know, they knew that somebody was going to try and pin it on Derek X, but like, what is the second one? Why are people like clowning around, trying to mess with things? They wanted an easy, straightforward vote, and now this is causing drama within their alliance. So Brent is like, all right, you can't tell anybody about this, but Frenchie said to me that one of the two rogue voters wanted to stay. First he said unanimous, but then he was like, anonymous. I meant anonymous. They wanted to stay anonymous. So he says, Big D must have been one of them because why else would he take the fall for it? Oh my God. He was one of them. He admitted it. Move on. And then he's like, what if the other one was Frenchie? Is Brent okay? I'm like really worried for him after hearing this conversation. How could it have been Frenchie? He could not vote this week. He was the HOH. What? Technically, okay, Frenchie is like kind of responsible for it because he was the one that asked Tiffany to do it. But like, come on. So anyway, they agree that there's been too much scheming going on. Brent, I just can't with Brent. It just keeps on getting crazier and crazier. So then Brent says, I'm trying to figure out who has a track record of doing things sporadic and erotic. So he mixed up his vowels there. He meant sporadic and erratic. But I really prefer sporadic and erotic. Classic Brent. So anyway, Brent also mentions that Frenchie has already volunteered to be a pawn. We missed a lot in those 3 hours after the show. Damn. So I guess Frenchie was saying, like, put up Lil D and I'll be a pawn next to him. Please, that'd be hilarious. But anyway, Brent's like, why are you trying to do all this? Why is Frenchie doing this? They agree it's too much. And they feel like Frenchie tells everyone everything, even people outside of the alliance. Why are you spilling everything to everyone? So they want to trust Frenchie, but he's really freaking them out. You know, he really needs to rein it in. So then they're hoping that Kyland is going to keep the alliance safe this week, the Slaughterhouse alliance, put up some combination of Britini, Sarah Beth, Lil D, or Hannah. No. Okay. That's what they want anyway. So then Kyland and Sarah Beth had a quick chat in the bathroom. Remember, these two have a final two. They tell each other like pretty much everything. So Sarah Beth says, I'm trying to act all bummed out about not winning, but I'm super excited for you. So Kyland tells Sarah Beth, you're not going up on the block this week. Not as a nominee, not as a replacement nominee, nothing. And he says, I'm not going to say that to anyone else. So like, I'm safe as the HOH, my team is safe, and you're safe. But I'm not going to make that promise to anyone else. Frenchie told like 20 people that they were safe last week, including me. And look how that turned out. So he doesn't want to make anybody that promise that they're going to be safe. And then like, because of whatever circumstances, he has to go back on that. He's not going to do it. So smart. So Sarah Beth says, I talked to Christian about potentially working with LD. I always want to call him LD. With Lil D. Because that's something that Sarah Beth and Kyland had discussed before. And she says, Christian like completely shut me down on that. She says, however, Claire and Tiffany would be into working with Derek X. So if you want to form a group of 5, me, you, Claire, Tiffany, Derek X, yes, we all want that. I think pretty much everybody watching wants that. That would be awesome. So they don't like solidify it right then and there, but it is something that they're going to be discussing. And Kyland again says he's planning on doing one-on-ones, and this is interesting. He wants to really he wants some of his friends to look out for him after his one-on-ones are over to see who people go to after they're done talking to Kyland. So he's going to need people being his eyes this week, or at least like while he's doing his one-on-ones. So that's interesting. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. But a little while later, Tiffany was talking to the cameras in the bathroom, and I'm really glad that she did this because we needed some insight, right, into why she agreed to throw that rogue vote. So first, Tiffany's like, all right, I need to remember I can't trust these people. I need to watch my mouth sometimes. I need to watch what I say because, yes, I'm safe this week, but I don't know that I'm going to be safe next week, So she says, I threw the rogue vote because I wanted to show Frenchie that I'm loyal to him, because it's better for him to think that I'm on his side than for him to think that I'm against him. She says, I'd rather keep my enemies close than have him think that I'm not working with him. She says, I never wanted Alyssa gone. That is not what that was. She says, Frenchie is on my radar, but as long as he's loyal to me, I'm going to work with him. Okay. So she says Frenchie and Brent are very dangerous together, and she would love to see both of them up on the block this week. Me too. But she says it's kind of tricky. She's got to be careful about how she plays this because there is some sort of big alliance going on that she's not a part of. So she's got to be really careful about how she handles this situation. So then a few minutes later, Claire joins Tiffany in the bathroom, and they both confirm, yes, they are on board for an alliance with Kyland, Sarah Beth, and Derek X. Yes. Okay. So then this was interesting. Christian and Alyssa had a game chat on the Sky Bridge. And Christian is spilling some tea. Christian and Alyssa have been getting a lot closer now that they both survived week 1. And they're in the mindset of like, everybody's going to think that we're together anyway, so we may as well get closer. So I think there's definitely, I see people are asking if there's any showmances. I think that's definitely a potential showmance that will be forming. They seem to be really into each other. And also I noticed yesterday, Whitney and Xavier were cuddling up quite a bit. So we'll see. But anyway, Christian and Alyssa. Christian says, okay, so like, remember in season 16, the detonators and the bomb squad? The detonators were these smaller alliance within the bomb squad. Devin has a daughter. So he tells Alyssa, all right, you are part of the Slaughterhouse, but there's a smaller group within it. So he says, you're not a part of it, but we're working to change that. Are they? Like, what's the point of that? What, are they going to slowly bring the 3 outsiders in the Slaughterhouse into the butchers? What's the point? But anyway, he tells her all about the butchers. He starts listing off who's in it, and the feed's cut. So I'm assuming he listed off everybody that was in it. So then when the feeds come back, she's like, okay, so you knew that I was going up on the block last week and you didn't tell me? And Christian's like, no. I didn't know that. Nobody knew that. So no, I didn't know you were going up. But then Frenchie comes up and breaks up that conversation. Damn. So they let him know that the Slaughterhouse will be meeting with Kyland later that night. No, they won't. They were like insisting that they had to meet up, even though Kyland was saying he wanted a night off from Game Talk. He wanted to do his chats the following day. So they were really trying to push for it though, but it did not happen. Not the full group. So later, Christian also spilled to Alyssa that he has a final 2 deal with Frenchie, but he says he would take Alyssa to the end over Frenchie. Okay. Christian's got quite a few final 2 deals now as well. I already said, like, Frenchie has a bunch, but Christian has quite a few as well. All right. So then Frenchie and Tiffany had a chat in the coral bedroom, and Tiffany is asking him, how are you feeling? He says he's nervous. He's starting to spiral again. You could just see it on his face. He's like, he knows he really screwed himself over. He is in danger. So Frenchie says, unless somebody talks some sense into Kyland, I'm pretty sure I'm going up. And if I don't go up, I'm getting backdoored. It's your own fault. You acted like a crazy person last week. That's on you. Also, apparently you volunteered to be a pawn. So I'm assuming he did that because he doesn't want to be backdoored. So he's like, well, if I go up as an initial nominee, at least I'll have a chance to play for the veto, right? Also, Kyland would be super justified in targeting Frenchie after what Frenchie tried to pull last week with him. But anyway, Tiffany advises Frenchie to just chill out, and Frenchie agrees. He says he really wants to get to know people this week, like on a personal level, because he didn't really get that opportunity last week. I mean, you could have, but you spent all your time running around causing drama that did not need to happen. So anyway, a little later, Kyland gets his HOH room. Yay! And it was very sweet. He got his family pictures, snacks, treats, hair products, sunglasses. His music is the original Broadway cast album of Hamilton. Ah! That's so exciting. I'm so excited that he got Hamilton. Britini also was like screaming. She was super pumped up about it. What a great choice. But anyway, his letter was from his mom, and he was too emotional to read it out loud for everyone. So Tiffany read it out loud, and it was such a sweet letter, and you could just feel the love. It was very, very sweet and touching. So Kyland says to everybody, I know you're all tired. I'm not going to like count how long you all stay here, so it's totally fine if you want to leave now. I'll understand. And he says, I'm going to be doing one-on-ones with everybody tomorrow. I'm not doing too much tonight. And he says, I want to keep the conversations brief. I want to keep everything moving so that everyone will get a turn to talk to me before the nominations. What a considerate guy. He's wonderful. All right. So everyone filters out of the room pretty quickly until it's just Kyland and Derek X alone. So Lil D says, after the week we just had, I am so happy for you. And he says, this is your decision. Don't be influenced by others. Make sure you take some time to enjoy this week. You know, you earned this. So Kyland's like, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of cross-referencing information this week. So make sure you got like all your ducks in a row. You remember your conversations that you've had with people. Cause like, I'm going to be checking with you, you know, to see what people are saying. And, you know, I'm going to check that with you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then Lil D, he's like, just a heads up. He talks about how Frenchie and Brent seemingly want to target a girl because they think that a girls' alliance is forming. But we also know the real reason is because they only have so many targets left outside of their huge ass alliance. So they're using the girls' alliance thing as a cover, but also it just so happens that Frenchie tried to start that girls' alliance to cover his own ass. And now it's looking like, oh man, we were right. There is a girls' alliance. But Kyland knows the truth about this whole thing from Sarah Beth because she told him all about it, how Frenchie was the one responsible for it, how the girls are not actually into it. So he knows all this. And they talk about how the guys seem to be targeting Claire right now. But she's safe for the week, so... Okay, so then Kyland says when he's doing his one-on-ones, he's not going to be, like, giving out information. He's going to be asking questions and listening. Nice. Okay, so then a little while later, people start showing up at the HOH to talk to Kyland, even though he said game talks were mostly going to be the next morning. So Alyssa, Xavier, and Christian all came up together because they're teammates. They didn't bring Sarah Beth with them, but Derek F came up at one point. Brent, Whitney, Frenchie came up, and Kyland was pretty much telling everybody the same thing. Of course, everybody's asking like, "Am I good? Are we good this week?" And Kyland was telling them, "I'm not telling anybody that they're safe, except for Sarah Beth." And he's not going to be telling anybody who he plans to put up. Again, he doesn't want to make promises to people and then have to go back on them like Frenchie. He's also telling them he's not concerned about those 2 rogue votes. Let's just move on from it. Okay, so meanwhile, the jackpot, Tiffany, Claire, and Sarah Beth are talking in the choral room. And not that kind of choral. But Tiffany's like, I think Frenchie set up the rogue votes and there were supposed to be 3 and somebody didn't follow through because she feels like they were trying to pin this on Lil D, Tiff, and Claire so that they would be targets going into this week. But guess what? Now Tiffany and Claire are safe. And Lil D is close to the HOH. So they've all noticed that Frenchie is walking around all upset. He's freaking out. So they think that this could be the real deal. Oh, of course, we know that Tiffany was one of the rogue votes because Frenchie asked her to do it, but she's not going to tell anybody that. So then they were talking about how Kyland would be well within his rights to put up Frenchie after how everything went down last week. They don't even know the full story about how Frenchie was trying to get Lil D to not use the veto so that Kyland would still be up there. But they're discussing, it could be Frenchie this week. Maybe Brent should go because Brent is a huge factor in Frenchie's game as well. And Brent is targeting them. That is true. So they've also clocked that there's a big alliance that they're not a part of, and they pretty much figured out who's in it. Basically, all the guys minus Lil D, and then also add on Whitney and Alyssa. So they know. They're on the lookout for that. And then later, Team Queens met up in the HOH room. So again, just a reminder, that's Kyland, Tiffany, and Claire. And Kyland's saying he can't really decide what he's going to do until after they see how this wildcard competition shakes out. He doesn't want to settle on a target and then all of a sudden that target is safe along with their whole entire team. So they don't know what to expect from this wildcard competition. So he's got to play it by ear and just see how things shake out. So Kyland says, again, he would love if Tiffany and Claire could help him out when he's doing his one-on-ones with people and keep an eye on who people go and talk to after they're done talking to Kyland. And they're like, yes, of course. And Kyland said he's worried about taking someone out and crushing their dream. He really doesn't want to do that. He's very sensitive and he's worried about the human aspect of it. Aww. So Tiffany says, remember, this is a game. Everybody signed up for this. You're going to have to make moves that may hurt someone else. This is not Best Friends. This is Big Brother. This is not RuPaul's Best Friends race. So she says it's always fair game to go after someone who came after you. Frenchie. She says it's always fair to break a deal or go back on your word in Big Brother. Brent. She says there's no rules to this shit. There is a power running this house and it's not us. And she knows there is a very good chance that Kyland is in this big group alliance, this almost whole house alliance, whatever. But she also feels that Kyland is probably pretty close to the bottom of it. So she's hoping that he's going to flip on them and put them up on the block this week. So then Tiffany also brings up Derek X, and she's like, I really like him. He's on an island by himself right now. He wants to be with us, and I don't want to see him go. But, people are going to be pushing for him to go up on the block this week. So make sure you're thinking about what's best for your game. She says you have me, Claire, Derek X, Sarah Beth. We're all behind you. We can get one or two more people, maybe like Azza, maybe Xavier. So you could have the votes to do whatever you want. Don't feel like you got to do what these other people are telling you. So Tiffany is also saying, don't listen to any advice that Frenchie has for you about being HOH. We saw how his HOH went last week. So she told him, whatever Frenchie tells you, do the opposite. Ah! I love Tiffany. Okay, so Kyland is taking this all in. All right, later. Tiffany and Claire had a long game chat with Derek X last night. They were clocking the whole game. They see what's going on with this big alliance. They see how many people are connected to Frenchie. So they were talking to Lil D about getting a group together with the three of them, Kyland, Sarah Beth, Hannah, others, possibly you. And Lil D is telling them all about the drama with Frenchie the night before the POV ceremony. So they got a lot of information right now, and they're hoping they'll be able to convince Kyland to ditch that big alliance, the Slaughterhouse, and target Frenchie this week because Frenchie is a threat to their games. So he's sporadic and erotic. They need to get rid of him. So then that was all last night. And that conversation, good times. Love it. We love to see it. So then today, the house guests are all trying to figure out who's going to play in the wild card competition. Again, there's going to be one person from each team except for Team Queens because they are safe for the week. And you can only play once until all of your other teammates have also played. Okay, so on an unrelated note, Frenchie was in the coral bedroom with Derek X, and Frenchie says Lil D proved a lot to him last week. And he's like, I want to tell you this. Everyone was trying to set you up this week for an easy slam dunk for you to go home. Like you were one of the main ones trying to set up Lil D to go home this week. Are you kidding me? So anyway, Frenchie says, I've been honest with you this whole entire time. And he says, if there's anything that I can do to change the target this week, let me know. And he tells Lil D, keep your eyes open and your mouth closed. The people that you think are close to you are not. And the people that you think are like the furthest from you are the best for your game. No. Okay. So anyway, Frenchie also says he's trying to sway the target off of the both of them. Dude, you're out of control. Just stop. Okay. So then the feeds were down for several hours for the wildcard competition. We found out that the players were Sarah Beth, Brent, and Frenchie. And guess what? The winner of the wildcard this week, I'm sure you guys already said it in the chat. The winner was Sarah Beth. What? So she actually decided not to take safety this week because she didn't want to like have to switch teams and mess everything up. It sounds like in order for Sarah Beth to have safety, she would have had to have switched with Tiffany or Claire, and one of them would not have been safe this week. Damn. So she really did that. Good for her. I mean, she knows she's safe this week. She's safe with Kyland for sure. That's a big move on her part. And you know, that's really going to solidify the trust with that jackpot alliance, Tiffany and Claire. And I'm sure also that's going to help with the formation of something with the three of them, Kyland and Derek X. So that's very, very exciting. Yeah. So that also means that, you know, Frenchie and Brent and all them, they are available to be nominated this week, and they can't play in the wild card next week. Woo! Okay, so that's done. Nominations are also happening today. Damn. Kyland is in the process right now of doing his chats with people. I think he was starting with teams first just to make sure he got to everybody. And then I guess it was going to depend on how much time he had left to talk to people one-on-one. I'm not sure what he's going to do at this point. I really don't know. He was doing his one-on-ones as I was getting ready to stream for you guys. So I don't know what he was saying to people. I don't know. But we'll be talking about it more tomorrow. And if you guys check back later, hi! If you guys check back later, I will post the nominees in the info box for this video. I think there's definitely going to be a good chance that Frenchie will be going up. But I don't know who's going to go up with him. We'll see. People are saying feeds are down right now for nominations. I want to trust you guys, but can I? I see we got some trolls in the chat tonight, so I don't know. But I don't have my phone with me right now either, but I'm pretty sure.
Multiple people were saying.
Okay, so I guess, yeah, wow, they're going for it right now. Wow. That's fast. Woo! Anyway, so thank you all of our super chatters today. You guys are amazing. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Sheena, thank you so much. And Sheena always is going for the showmances. Sheena wants to know, who is my crush from this season? I guess if I had to pick a crush, I would say,
fun.
Yeah, for fun. Of course. For fun. I would say Kyland, because I think he's a really sweet guy. He's just really sweet. And his music was Hamilton, so.
He loves Broadway.
Love that. Love that for him. Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you so much, Sheena. Yeah. Catherine Keys, thank you so much. Alexandra Alberts, thank you so much. Adley Bruges, thank you so much. Mike D, thank you so much. And he asks, can you do a Danny impression? Thank you. Bye for now. You know I can. Anything for you, Mike D. So let me just say, oh my God, this first week of the feats has been so frustrating. I'm exhausted. I have been exhausted though. It's been entertaining as hell, but it has also been, a lot. Phil D, thank you so much for the super chat. Jason, thank you so much for the super chat. RRO17, thank you so much for the super chat. Bowie's swimming. And Forever Charlotte, did I say that right? Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you guys all for being here. I hope you had a good time today. I know I did. Oh, Anita Star, thanks so much for the super chat. Let me add you on here so I don't miss you tomorrow. Oh, we got a squeaka. Yeah, the feeds are down. Shocker. So I'm excited to see how this week plays out. I'm curious what Kyland has up his sleeve. Maybe it's a hot dog, like on I Think You Should Leave. Is anybody watching that yet? Oh my God, we've only seen the first episode so far of season 2, but I can't wait for more because that show is genius.
Lunch, you have to eat a hot dog out of your sleeve.
That show is genius.
Bobby does it all the time.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. So thank you all for being here. And until next time, much love. Bye. Okay.